Welcome back to the OBB podcast with myself and Khalil Williams. We are back with episode 2 of season 2. Hope you guys enjoyed the first video. If not, go to our YouTube at OBB Podcast. It's also in our bios at Khalil Williams.
24. Khalil _ Williams 24.
At Khalil _ Williams 24.
You want to throw in a follow, I'll take it.
And at Joey _ de Blasio. So we are back with episode 2. We have a very exciting episode since it's been the All-Star break. There's not much to talk about, so we threw in some interesting takes that we want everybody to be a part of. Maybe you have different opinions, but we're going to share ours today. We're also just going to recap All-Star weekend, the highs and lows of it, mostly the lows.
A lot of lows.
The dunk contest. It's pretty much Saturday night in general. And we're also going to talk about the NBA 75. The NBA made a team of their greatest 75 players of all time. There's a few players on that list that we believe that shouldn't be on there, and there's a few players that are, quite frankly, way more deserving that got left off of it. So let's jump right in like we normally do. So as I was saying, this past Friday, Saturday, Sunday was NBA's All-Star weekend.
Yep.
2022 in Cleveland. And to be honest, the All-Star weekend was pretty much just like the city. It was pretty boring and nobody really cares about it, you know? So I'd just like to hear your takes. Saturday night All-Star game.
Well, Saturday night was a disgrace. I mean, it was just bad, man. Like, how many times can you miss a dunk?
I've never seen anything like it.
That was just bad.
I think
man.
that was the worst the dunk contest ever.
I think the 3-point contest was pretty cool. Somebody who wasn't supposed to win won. I kind of like that. How like he wasn't favored and he won. And Friday night, I didn't watch a celebrity game.
I feel like most people don't. So it really
I used to when Kevin Hart was in it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But now it's nobody really intrigues me. Nobody's worth my time watching. And it was a really good game though. Both sophomore games were really good.
I didn't even get a chance to.
Both of those games were really good. Like they were hooping for real. Like they were actually like hauling ass. Like they were playing for real.
I saw a few clips. I mean, it was probably just better because these young guys actually put in a little more effort into the break.
No, they were really playing. Like they were actually like I liked it a lot. They were like playing hard. They were playing for real. Kate Cunningham shine. He won the MVP in it. But it was a dope ass game though. It was both games because they kind of did tournament style, and both games were really 3 games.
Did you like the new style of the?
I did.
Like
They had
4 teams.
They had 4 teams, and I thought the teams were pretty evenly matched, and I enjoyed it, man. All the games were good. They all went down to the wire. Well, down because the set score was 50, but games were won like 50-48. 45-50, like it was. The games were close, and they were really hauling ass. Like they were playing really good. So that was I liked that game. Saturday night,
I liked how they did the new skills challenge.
Yeah.
I just don't think that the Antetokounmpo's, Giannis and his brothers should have been part of that.
I mean, they do everything else except shoot,
which was like the biggest part. If
yeah.
not, and I also don't think that. G League players should be brought up for the NBA's All-Star weekend. There was a few on the rookie sophomores.
Yeah.
From the Ignite, and they also had Kostas, Kostas, right?
Yes.
Come up, Giannis's brother from what team is he on?
I don't even know what team he's on.
Something 95, but whatever. He's on a G League team, and I don't know if they should be part of it. But I did like the new setup for the skills challenge. They had the shooting first, then passing, and then the finish.
And then, we could just talk about it. The dunk contest was horrible. I think it was one of the top 3 worst ones I've seen. It just gives more people ammunition to say the 3-point contest should be the last event.
As it should be, based off the last few years.
Yeah, the last 2 years were bad. Well, I don't really count 21 because it was kind of COVID.
Yeah.
Still, there were no fans at the time in the stands yet. But this one was pretty bad. The NBA got to find a way to make it pop again.
Right.
They got to find a way to make it pop.
even like the players, they like Jalen Green and Cole, they attempted some tough dunks, but they just weren't finishing
They
them.
weren't hitting.
I didn't see many like props this year. I didn't see anyone in the crowd really getting into it. I just thought
Yeah.
I thought it was
Because
terrible.
it was pretty bad. But it's always next year. But the All-Star game itself, obviously, it's an All-Star game. Wasn't a lot of defense, but Steph Curry had 16 threes,
Yeah,
bro.
16 to 27.
And that was insane. But, like, you got to realize the 16 he hit were both in the second and third quarter.
Yeah,
for the most
no,
part. Like,
he kind of saved the All Star
that
game
shit
too.
was crazy. He hit, like, yeah, I think he hit 7 in the second and then, like, 6 in the third. Like, and it was, like, in a row.
Mhm.
Like, that's why it was, like, crazy.
And then it
Bro,
ends.
he pulled it from half court and turned.
Yeah, it's
Like, that's so cold,
And then
bro.
of course it ends with LeBron's fadeaway jumper to finish.
Back
up
in the
game.
land.
I mean,
Yup.
Come on, like
I thought the second half was really amazing because if you remember, Team LeBron was down and Steph kind of willed them back, kind of burnt out a little in the fourth. But man, now it was good. I enjoyed I enjoyed Friday and I enjoyed Sunday, so I can't really say it was a bad All-Star weekend because I actually enjoyed both, like 2 of the 3, and I enjoyed the 3-point contest too. So there was more things I liked than disliked. So I guess it makes for a pretty good All-Star break.
I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, I would say I could have kind of agreed with you. I just think that dunk contest just ruined the whole weekend for me. I was just bummed out after that.
It was all time bad, but I've seen worse. So
And then they just had their 75 dinner or whatever
75 ceremony
ceremony
for all the players that were there. I guess that made the team.
So we got a few problems with this greatest of all time 75 players that the NBA came up with. Khalil, if you just want to let something off your chest, I know it's not the segment, but
I have a big problem with this list, man.
what's up with it?
The NBA 75, I hated the fact that they kept the original 50 on the team. Are we not allowed to grow, evolve? Don't players beat records, get better?
Yeah,
So
they do.
technically the list is already jaded. The list is already it's not true. Because you kept people that aren't better than the people who are off. And I just have names. It's about 10 names. I just want you guys to bear with me. Bill Walton should not be on this list. He shouldn't have made the first one. I mean, what he did in Portland for 2 years was great. He won a championship, won an MVP. I can't say nothing bad about it. But if you're going to take a totality of somebody's career, it got to be more than a 2-year peak, in my opinion. Lenny Wilkins, he averaged 16, 5, and 7 in the 60s or 70s or whatever era he played in. And he's a 9-time All-Star. Nah. Okay. George Mikan should not be on this list. George Mikan,
I'm just mind blown from some of these names.
The first NBA superstar supposedly was George Mikan. He was supposedly the greatest center of his time. And people like to make the joke at the time, the 50s were all plumbers and guys who were 4 feet tall. He was 6'10" and shot 40% from the field for a career. So there were times he probably shot 30, 35 to 40. And another thing I saw is he's a 4-time All-NBA or 4-time All-Star. He played 7 years. So technically your best player in the league had 3 years where he wasn't even in your top, well, he wasn't even in your mention.
He wasn't, yeah.
That I have a problem with that. Robert Parrish, that's just off the team he was on.
Right.
If you really look at it, he was not better than all the people I named on the list. Bill Sharman, he's 7-time All-NBA, which is amazing. But there were 8 teams in the league. There were 8 teams in the league. So technically, you are beating out 8 starters.
Yeah.
8 shooting guards you were beating out. That doesn't do anything for me. Dolph Shays, he was a power forward. He's a 12-time All-Star, 1-time champ. Again, he had 8 teams in the league. So the 12-time All-Star was kind of pretty much easy to make. And then he's another power forward center type who averaged 18 and 12 and shot 38%. in an era where it was plumbers. Your words, not mine. James Worthy might be unpopular, but I think he's in there based off his name too. Because if you really look at his accomplishments, he's a 3-time champ. He is a Finals MVP. He's a 7-time All-Star, and he's only a 2-time All-NBA. So basically, 2 times in your career, you were top 10 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how does that qualify you. Dave Bing, he's a 7-time All-Star, 3 All-NBA, again, 8 to 12 teams, which doesn't make sense. Ray Allen.
See, that's another unpopular thing.
Ray Allen, he's a 2-time All-NBA. 2 times. So you were
NBA champion though.
But you were as a player, the championship just puts you over the top. But what you do as an individual player, because it's a team award.
Mm-hmm.
So how I look at it is his first 10 years or 12 years when he was the man, they weren't going anywhere. They made a conference finals, I think, but they weren't going anywhere. He got with KG Ray in Boston. I mean, he got with KG and Paul Pierce in Boston. That's where in Miami, that's where he won it. So basically, he's a 2-time. So
he's a 2-time NBA champion.
Yeah, so basically, he's a 2-time All-NBA player. So in your era, you were top 15 twice. So how can you be?
And to clarify, this is not top all NBA first team. This is just all.
This is just the team 3 in general. Yeah. So and then so let me break it down. The All NBA teams. There's 3 teams of 5 players who they think had the best season for that year. So they put 15 players who they all think had great seasons or who had the best 15 seasons from each player, and then they put him on a team. He only did it twice. So basically, he was a top 15 player 2 times in his career. Reggie Miller.
I'm surprised that you put his name on here.
Reggie Miller. He's a 5-time All-Star, which is when he was debatably the second best shooting guard in the 90s, and you're a 5-time All-Star, so you weren't making it from 90 to 99. He's a 3-time All-NBA player and played in the league 18 years. That's something you got to think about. Dave DeBusschere, 1-time All-NBA.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you who that is, to be honest.
He was on the Knicks. Dave DeBusschere, 1-time All-NBA. Those 10 or 11 people are people who shouldn't have made this list. Now, I got replacements for him. Klay Thompson should be over Dave Bing.
Well, let's just say Klay Thompson should be in this list regardless.
Well, I'm telling you, he should be in it over Dave Bing. Dwight Howard should be in it over Mikan. Chris Bosh should be in it over Bill Walton.
That's an interesting take.
He should be. The only thing Bill has that Chris doesn't is an MVP. Kyrie Irving over Lenny Wilkins. Now, I put Draymond Green over James Worthy.
Another interesting one.
Because we got to look at it different. Draymond's not a scorer, right? So if you look at all their career, because me personally, I've watched certain games of James Worthy, but when I'm talking about these older guys, all I can base it off is stats and achievements. So when you look at stats and achievements, James Worthy's points per game is better, but Draymond destroys him in every other category. And he's more accomplished as a player. Mm-hmm. They both have 3 rings. Draymond's 4-time All-NBA. He's a Defensive Player of the Year, and he's a 4-time All-Defense or 6-time All-Defense. That puts you in there. It should, because he's a defensive player, so you can't judge him off how many points he scored, because it's not the same.
Now this next one is you're gonna have to do some explaining to do on that.
Tracy McGrady over Reggie Miller.
Why?
Tracy McGrady was a 7-time All-NBA player and had only 7 good years. So in your stretch, 7 times, it was him and Kobe going back and forth for who was the best shooting guard in the league. Now, when Shaq left, we knew the answer to that. But at the time, it was a serious, you didn't know.
Yeah.
You didn't know. But 7-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Star. To Reggie Miller's 3-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Star. Now, Reggie Miller made a finals, yes, but Tracy McGrady didn't have the teams that he had.
Right, Tracy McGrady low-key got to one.
Well, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. With the Spurs, Well, shit,
Did they win
it
that
does
year?
count.
Did they
You
win
know
that
what? Matter of fact, it does count because I'm not a person that. If you look at his whole career, he technically did make a finals. So
Did T-Mac get a ring that year, or did they lose?
no, they lost.
They lost
That was the
to
Ray
Miami?
shot. That was the Ray shot.
Yeah.
Bernard King over Bill Sharman. Bernard King over Bill Sharman. Bernard King, ask anybody in the 80s, people were scared of Bernard King. As a scorer, his stats are way better. His stats are significantly better. Now, Dennis Johnson over Ray Allen, Boston's point guard. He kind of got lost in the mix because he was playing with Bird, McHale, and Parrish. But he should be on that list. Oh, and I skipped the name. Pau Gasol.
Oh, right.
Pau Gasol should be on that list. Pau Gasol is on that list. Pau Gasol is on that list over Robert Parrish. Robert Parrish is a 3-time champion. Okay. He has one more ring. But Pau Gasol's stats are extremely better. There's a 10-year stretch where he was constantly 18 and 10.
And he was also number 2 to Kobe Bryant.
He was number 2. But he was before his career. He's 17, 9 and 3. I think that's better than Robert Parrish. That's better than Robert Parrish. Pau Gasol's a 6-time and he's a 4-time All-NBA. He's a 4-time All-NBA. Think about the power forwards that were in his era at the time, right? You have KG, Tim Duncan, Chris Webber, Dirk Nowitzki, Chris Bosh, and he made the All-NBA team 4 times. I said Dirk 4 times. That's impressive to me. You know what I'm saying? So Pau Gasol definitely, and he's a rookie of the year, and he's a 6-time All-Star. He's there. Dikembe Mutombo should be over Dolph Schayes.
I'm surprised Mutombo wasn't in it.
He should be. There is years he's averaging 5 blocks a game. 5 blocks.
You think towards like the end of his career kind of ruined it for him?
Yeah, because his stats went down at the end of his career. But if you look at his first, I think 10 or 12 years, he was like 15, 14, and 5 blocks. He's there.
Yeah, for sure.
He's there. And then Alonzo Mourning should be over Dave DeBusschere.
That's another name that got left out. There's
Alonzo
a lot of
Mourning.
names here.
People forget Alonzo Mourning was 18 and 12 until he had his kidney failure.
Mm-hmm.
But he was also averaging 4 blocks a game. And he won a championship. I think, and he's over Dave DeBusschere in my opinion. But honestly, the biggest snub of them all was Dwight Howard.
Dwight or Clay?
Dwight, I would say Dwight Howard was the biggest snub of them all.
People forget how great or dominant Dwight Howard was.
Bro, people don't realize he was in top 3 in MVP damn near the first 3 years of late 2000s, early 2010s. He was in the MVP running every year.
He also brought, no fade on them, but he also brought Jameer Nelson and Hito Turkoglu to the finals.
Exactly. So he got his team to a finals being the best player.
It's crazy to think about actually how dominant a center was. I mean, I know that we have a few now, but he was just so dominant, and that was only what? I guess that is a long time.
It was like 15. He came in 2004.
That's actually a lot longer than it seems, but
damn near 20 years.
All right, so
yes.
I have a lot of agreements with you on that. Those players.
Get Bill Walton's ass out of this damn. Every list they make, I hate seeing his face with his 6,000 point scoring self. John Morant probably has 6,000 points right now.
Damn near it, yeah.
Come on, man. Come on.
So I'm about to put a picture up on the board right here. It pisses me the hell off. We got a picture. In the front row, we got Gary Payton, Magic Johnson, and Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
In the back row, we have Jason Kidd, John Stockton, Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas. Sounds like pretty much like the greatest point guards of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And then to the left of Isaiah Thomas, I guess to the right of him in the picture, but looking at it to the left of him, there's one guy that sticks out to me that I will always have a bone to pick with, but Damian Lillard is in the picture with all of these GOATs, like the best point guards. Like, mind you, Steve Nash is not in this picture. Westbrook's not in this picture. Kyrie's not in this picture. I'm sure I'm missing.
So Westbrook wasn't there. That's why he wasn't.
I know, but I'm just saying. out of all these point guards, we have Damian Lillard next to Gary Payton, Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, the rest of them.
At first, I had a problem with him being on the list. And then I looked at his accomplishments. What has he done his numbers are there. I didn't realize his career numbers is 25, 4, and 7, basically.
It's pretty good. But
6-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA. He's a 6-time All-NBA player, and he's been in the league for 10 years. So he's pretty much every year of his career. He's been in the league 9 years, I think. No, he came in 2012, so this is his 10th year. So 6 times out of 10 years, you were an All-NBA player, and you were top 15 you were top 15 basically for 6 years. He's there.
I just find
I had a problem with it.
I don't have
really
a problem
did
with
have
him
a problem with
on the list necessarily.
No,
I do have a problem with him on the list over Kyrie, for sure. If we're just talking point guards, I think Kyrie. I mean, he has the championship. I'm not looking at stats right now, but I'm pretty sure he's got damn near the same stats. Okay, probably damn near the same All-NBAs, same All-Stars. And he has like the biggest shot in finals history, one of them at least.
See, now Kyrie's 22, 4, and 5, 4 and 6 for a career.
What is he at with the All-NBA and the?
He's 7-time All-Star, but only 3-time All-NBA.
Only 3, but
So
you also got to take
so
in that Kyrie's been hurt.
So technically, I do, but that's not. We're looking at a career. There's no excuses in a career.
Well, if we're looking at a career, we got the biggest shot in finals history.
No, I get it, but again, a championship should not be the end-all, be-all. Because if Damian Lillard is better than him in stats, accomplishments, except for the championship.
Oh, well, he's got him an All-Star. You got him a championship.
Well, All-Stars,
he's like 2 points away.
But then All-Star,
per game.
Kyrie Irving was in the East his whole career. Damian was in the West. So you kind of have to put things into the.
I don't know. I just thought it was pretty funny.
But Kyrie Irving definitely should have been there over Dave Bing. Should have been there over Lenny Wilkins.
But look at the picture on the board, bro. It's pretty hysterical.
But it's not though, because his numbers are. I would put Damian Lillard not so far behind Gary Payton. He's not that far off from Gary Payton.
Where would Russell Westbrook be in this situation?
Russell Westbrook, if you're looking at a career.
Is he better than Gary Payton?
All time, yes.
So is Dame better than Gary Payton, or is he slightly below?
He's slightly below. Russ is better than Dame all time. That's not the issue. That's a fact. Dame is. Because if I could think of the point guards of this era, and you go, well, I'm not including Steph, but if you go Westbrook, Dame, Kyrie, any given day, I think Dame and Kyrie are. I used to think we're same level, but Dame is just a better overall player. Kyrie's more skillful, but Dame is a better player.
I don't know if I could agree with that.
So, I mean, I wasn't, and then I looked at Anthony Davis's too. I had a problem with Anthony Davis being there until I got to looking at his stats. And I was like, well, damn, he deserves to be there.
Can I cut you off real quick?
Yeah.
I know we're doing the show and everything, but all right, so earlier me and Andrew, shout out Andrew again. He gets a lot of shout outs on this. I was just looking at stupid bets, and it was like a plus 2,200 if you guess the final score of tonight's Ducks Sharks game in the NHL. And there was 4-3 Ducks over the Sharks, and right now it's 3-3 at the end of the second period.
Yeah.
Andrew, I'll call you after the show. Sorry, continue.
So I was looking at Anthony Davis, and I was like, why isn't he? I said, I don't like how he's there. But then, remember, we got to look at a career, not the last 2 years. So we got to look at his whole career. In his career, he's 24, 10, and 3, I think. 24, 10, and 3. Oh, 24, 10, and 2, excuse me.
It's actually interesting how he only averages 2 assists for his career. 24,
10, and 2. He's a 8-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, 4-time All Defensive.
You could also say All-Star MVP. But if you don't even want to reach that far, you could say he had the most points in an All-Star game.
He's there. Yeah, I mean,
52.
Yeah, but usually the hometown person usually does.
Yeah, I mean, like of all time.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, he does.
52.
But I mean, Anthony, I was looking. I reviewed it. I took some people in. I took some people off. But yes, I do believe that Anthony Davis should be on that list because he has a championship and he's 4-time All NBA, 4-time All.
He didn't even pop into my mind to be on that list.
But I mean, I wouldn't have thought it. But if you look at it, he's better than James Worthy. He's better than James Worthy. He's better than Dave DeBusschere.
Yeah, he should be on that list.
I think this list, they should not have kept the original 50 because you take it's not fair to the newer players. Like, because you only add 25. The last time you did this list was in 1997. So you go to, what's this, 25 years later? 25 years later, people get snubbed because you wanted to not forget the past. And I have all respect in the world for those guys, but it's like, I think they tell you they're not better. That's where I have an issue. Like, because this isn't the greatest list. These aren't the greatest players. These aren't the greatest players because you have people who are actually great not making it because you don't want to disrespect the past. So technically, this isn't the best list. This isn't even because people kind of like, some people think there's a difference between best, like actual talent, best and greatest. This isn't either. This list right here wasn't either.
It's kind of just honoring players from the 50s, 60s, maybe even the 70s a little too much.
I get it.
Maybe we think.
I understand why.
Maybe we're thinking wrong because we're part of this era.
No, because
the early 2000s, but.
No, but it's like if you really, because we didn't watch a Mikan, a Parrish, or a Sharman in real time.
Exactly.
And neither did half of these voters.
It's also another
we are just as credible as they are because they're going off of stats, all-star games, and they're looking at accomplishments and stats because we didn't get a chance to watch them play. We didn't get a chance to see them. So it's kind of like this is all you can go off of.
And also, I would say for me personally,
because see, when I was putting people in, the people in who I thought should be there, I took my bias out. Mm-hmm. Believe it if you want to, or don't believe it if you want to.
I believe it. Had Reggie Miller.
I took my bias of it out, and I looked at Clay stats, and I didn't think about a 60 in a game or 37 and a quarter. I looked at their stats for their career because it's your career. It's your career. And you can't tell me Klay Thompson's career isn't better than a Dave Bing or Lenny Wilkins. They have not won a championship.
And also, I was saying for me personally, it's like I look at the list and, I mean, we do this show for a reason, right? So we both know a lot about basketball, and it takes a lot for me not to know a name and to see Dave, what's his name?
Dave Bing.
No, not Dave Bing.
Who?
Dave
DeBusschere.
See, I don't even know who that is.
He was on the Knicks in the 70s. He won 2 rings. He won 2 rings with the Knicks.
For me not to know somebody,
God bless him. Crazy. He won 2 rings for the Knicks in 69 and 73. And then he wasn't the top 4 player on his team. So to me, you can't be a top 75 player of all time when you weren't in the top 4 of your team.
And the rest of his teammates aren't even there.
At said time. You can't.
So in agreement here, this list is just a bunch of nothing, really.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything because there's no way that you're going to put – this is just for anything. Like, I don't value championships that – I do. Obviously, that's why we play sports. That's why they play the game is to win championships. But championships do not tell the whole damn story. And Lenny Wilkins to be a 9-time All-Star and that's his only accomplishment. He shouldn't even have made it then. He shouldn't have made it then. 9-time All-Star in a 12-team league, you had to beat out maybe 5 good point guards.
Yeah, so I just want to wrap this up because this is also kind of pissing me off just looking at this list. Oh, maybe we could shout him out on the podcast real quick.
Yo, E, we filming. Get your ass off, bro.
Say hi to the people.
Babe.
Let me call you back in a little bit. All right. Anyway, so you
That
just
was Joe's
said
ugly ass brother.
you just said we play sports to win championships, right?
Yes.
Let's move on to our next segment, which has a combined 10 championships?
Yes. Yes.
And how many appearances? It doesn't matter. Okay, so we had this conversation a couple nights ago. We were just talking. This is where our ideas really come from because me and Khalil just be talking, and we're like, oh, if we could just talk about it sitting down, just having a conversation, why don't we just share it with everybody? So the other day, LeBron James's agent, Rich Paul, said that the road for LeBron was just as hard, if not harder, than the road for Jordan, which means his road to greatness, his path to greatness. Here, we kind of disagree.
Mm-hmm.
We agree, but we disagree
Mm-hmm.
in a few different ways. So, Khalil, I'll let you say who you think had the tougher road, and then I'll throw my rebuttal. And yeah, let's get into it.
For me, they both. Well, let me just put the disclaimer before I say this. I am a person who thinks Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. I think he is the greatest of all time. But the way I'm about to talk right now might not sound like it, but I do think he is the greatest of all time. But I think LeBron 100% had.
I'm going to save my thoughts for after, too. I'm going to let you go the whole way.
LeBron James had a tougher path for sure because it's like his path started at 15, right? So if we're going to look at this as a road and you have roadblocks, the pressure was the first step. He's been facing pressure. Think about it. By the time LeBron was 30, he's been famous more than he's been alive.
Yeah.
And that's not really common for athletes unless you're like a tennis star or before a basketball player, it's rare that by the time you're 30, you've been famous more years than you've been alive. So all the pressure, there were interviews with him at 16 years old, and an interviewer told him straight to his face, if you make it to the league and you're not an all-time great, your career, people are gonna look at your career and say he's a bust. He said you can't just be an all-star. You gotta be an all-time great. So that's something. Put that in a 16-year-old's body. That's tough. And now LeBron and Jordan was able to come in with no pressure. He wasn't, because at the time, guards can't carry a team. So nobody was expecting Michael Jordan to come out the way he did. So he kind of was able to go under the radar until he hit the floor in the NBA because he wasn't an all-time great college player. He didn't average 20 points in college.
Right. So
nobody was really checking for him to do nobody could have ever foresaw that he was going to be what he was.
Maybe they did because they did have all of that on film. No, I'm just joking.
No, I mean, look at the film. Like even The Last Dance, they're all saying, well, he's not 7 foot, so I don't know if he could do it. It would have been, I hope he would have been 7 foot. Then he could have did something until they got to training camp and they knew what time it was. Right? Mm-hmm. And then the one misconception I kind of want to throw out there is that LeBron played in a weak East his whole career. He really didn't. From 14 down he did. From 14 to 18. Actually, from 14 to 18, he definitely played in a weak East, 100%. 100%. But if you look at, people forget his first 12 years in the league because we were only able to see the last 8 or 7 of his career because he's year 19. And 8 years ago, we were 12. So we really only got to see the last 8 years fully in person. the last 8 years. But his first 7 years, Detroit, who won a championship over the Lakers, he had to face them. He beat them to go to the finals. Then you go to Orlando. Orlando beat LeBron to go to the finals. And then actually they didn't. They ended up losing to Boston the next round. Orlando did. Then you go to Boston with KG, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Rajon Rondo. And he played them for like consecutive years in a row. So technically, even the Miami Heat with Shaq and Wade, they were part of that time. And then you go to the early 2010s where you had the Pacers, who they went 7 games with. And then you had Chicago with Derrick Rose, even though they kind of beat them easily. But Derrick Rose was the MVP and had the number 1 record in the East. So it wasn't a weak East his whole career. Granted, from 2013 down, the shit was pretty easy. But, and then you look at the finals competition. Actually, I'm going to let you go.
That's it for now?
That's it for now.
All right, so I'm going to start with how you started. You said that LeBron, he was 16 years old and all this pressure was on him. Could I say that Michael Jordan came into the league, broke his foot, and it could have bothered him the rest of his career, could have possibly ended his career? That's a lot of pressure for a kid as well. Think about it. He was also a kid too. He wasn't 16, but he was young.
He was 23.
Came in, broke his foot, and the doctor said, I don't know if this is going to heal properly.
That was just for the season. That wasn't for his career.
No, if he re-injured,
they had a 10% chance of re-injuring it. That's not really pressure because there's a 90% chance he won't. So the odds are in your favor.
That's what he said. But let me move on. Then you moved on to what? The teams that LeBron played?
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about just in the 80s, he played Boston and he played Detroit. Detroit was by far his hardest opponent. And Detroit was better than pretty much every team on this list.
We also can't throw out Boston, who was still a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said LeBron.
But it's not like they were equal and he won. And they just beat him. Mm-hmm. Like Jordan was an 8th place team like 3 years in a row. So it's kind of like it wasn't expected, I guess. But Orlando, both teams were even and he lost. But go ahead.
Okay, so that kind of helps my point, though. So, like, Michael Jordan was an 8th seed, so that makes it harder for him to even become great because his team wasn't good enough to beat the top tier teams at first, right?
Yeah.
Then you mentioned the teams LeBron played. You mentioned Orlando, who never won a ring,
but they made it to the finals.
You mentioned that Boston team who won a ring. You mentioned the Indiana Pacers, who didn't get close to a ring. And I don't think that I think that Indiana Pacers team was probably the toughest team that in the I guess recent years that LeBron has played in the Eastern Conference. And I don't think they were even that good. I mean, they had Roy Hibbert, who is a washed name now that no one's going to remember except like people like us, big sports fans. Lance Stevenson, even though he was giving them fits, nobody really, he's out the league. He only had that, 2-year stretch. Then he went to Charlotte and was like, nah.
But at the time, he was good. At the time, they were great.
They had George Hill, who was serviceable.
That's why I said from 13 down, the shit was easy. But the first 9-10 years was kind of tough.
And then also with Jordan, like you said, the league wasn't ran by guards or even really small forwards yet. It was kind of a big man's league. When LeBron came in, it kind of switched. Since I can remember, LeBron played in a league that was dominated by small forwards. Which is probably true. Even today, you can say the top 3 best players in the league are small forwards, if you wanted to make an argument.
Yeah.
So I think with Jordan coming in as a guard.
But I'll give you this, right? Who were the top 3 players of the 80s?
It's my time to speak. I'll let you speak. I'm not done yet.
Okay.
like you said, Jordan came into the league as a guard. So that makes it even more difficult for him to become great because guards were not winning 6 championships back then, like leading their team. You're not going to become the GOAT as a 6'6", 6'5" shooting guard. Just not going to happen. Now I'll let you repick up.
Okay, so you said the top players were ran by small forwards.
In LeBron's era.
In LeBron's era, which is somewhat true, yes. But who were the top 3 players in the 80s?
Probably Larry Bird, Magic, and Kareem.
Not Michael Jordan?
Oh, but so, including Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan?
In the 80s? Probably not.
He won an MVP in the 80s.
So you're saying from 80 to 90? Or when he joined the league?
90, he was better than Kareem was in the 80s.
And that's another debate we can have.
Kareem was 60s and 70s. You realize Kareem was averaging 13 by 1986.
Still made it to the finals.
Okay.
All right, anyway. So we'll put Michael Jordan in there, I guess.
So those were the top 3 players from the decade of the 80s.
LeBron's first decade, he was top 3 player. Probably the best player.
No, but I'm just saying. So in a league ran by centers at the time, a center wasn't a top 3 player in his decade of the 80s.
Power forward was.
But there's not a center. But their top 3 players weren't guards either. Weren't centers either. And then LeBron's finals competition, that makes it a road to greatness, was way tougher than Michael Jordan had to face in the finals.
I don't think LeBron's. I think it might be equal, but LeBron's NBA championship opponents or title opponents
way tougher.
Were tougher than Jordan's.
By far.
But Jordan's Eastern Conference opponents were way tougher than LeBron's.
I don't think they were
way tougher. I think Jordan's Eastern Conference opponents were better than half of the teams that LeBron played in the finals.
Oh, no.
The Pistons.
We're not better than who? We're better than who?
Dallas.
I can't say that.
I can. How can you not say that?
Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Kidd.
Bad boy Pistons who ran the league for years, and then someone had to come knock them off. Also, that he lost to them, which proves that they were that good. I think that Pistons team is better than.
Okay, so you want to throw? I'll give you Dallas.
I think that Pistons.
I'll give you Dallas.
I think that Pistons team is better than a 20, 21, and 22-year-old team in OKC. I'm not saying that they were better if they were all together now or a couple of years ago, but they were all so young. Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. They were not ready. They won the first game, got their ass busted.
Are they better than the Spurs? Was Detroit better than the Spurs at any time LeBron played them?
No.
OKC beat the Spurs to get to the finals.
They did. Your point.
Okay, so.
But the Spurs also beat OKC.
No, but I'm just talking about the year they went to the finals.
Oh, they were not ready. They
weren't ready, but they got there. But it's okay. That's all right. It's all right. It happens. But they made it
again.
They made it.
It didn't happen.
They made it to the finals. But LeBron's competition in the finals was harder. Was way harder. Think about it. Golden State 7-3-9. Steph, Clay, and Draymond. Next year they get Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant. In OKC with Russ and Harden, who Harden won 6th Man of the Year. Russ was great, and KD was great.
Westbrook in that finals got trashed on so hard.
Yeah, but I thought he played okay.
I thought he played good.
Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Kidd in Dallas, 2 Hall of Famers.
Not better than the Detroit team. Not better than the Celtics teams that he had to play.
Well, whatever. Well,
even in the beginning of his career.
So if we're gonna talk about finals, you can't compare him to the people he played in the playoffs. I'm saying finals.
Yeah, you can, because it's the road to greatness, right? It's the path.
I guess, but I'm just talking about the finals right now. I was comparing their finals right now. But then, and then you want to look at it like this. Jordan, after he beat Detroit, what other Eastern Conference team was there that actually could beat them?
That's a tough question to answer.
So we could take Jordan's first 6 years of his career.
You could say the same thing for LeBron.
That's what I'm saying. You can't say LeBron played in the weak East, and I just asked you, name a team that actually could have beat the Bulls in the 90s, and you can't give me a team.
But I can say the same thing to you.
I know you can, but I'm just saying. I said LeBron played in the weak East from 13 down. I did say that.
Jordan still had tough matchups.
So did LeBron. LeBron played in more Game 7s in the 2010s than Jordan did in the 90s in the playoffs.
Yeah, but that's just a testament to how great Michael Jordan was.
Is it though?
Yeah, because those teams that he was
Is it
playing
though?
against
You couldn't even name me a team.
The New York Knicks were a good team. They fought well against the Bulls.
They beat the Knicks in 5.
They fought well
in 90. They beat the Knicks in 5.
Just because he's that good and beat them doesn't mean that they weren't.
No, because here's where I'm about to say. In 92, when they played, Jordan was horrible that series, and they won in 6.
Bro, who was LeBron playing? Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan?
And think about it like I'm
rookie Jaylen Brown.
But this is what I'm saying. I am saying LeBron's competition in the East from 2012 down was easy. I said that on the camera. But if you look at it in the 90s, it was kind of just as easy because nobody came close to beating Michael Jordan.
But if you look at who the fuck LeBron played,
I'm not arguing with you on that.
Even in his early stages of his career, Michael Jordan had tougher teams than
yes, in his earlier so if
you want to say they're both easy at the end, right? They're both easy at the end.
When they both reached their top, when they were at their apex, at their best, everybody in the Eastern Conference, I think Michael Jordan played in 2 Game 7s in the 90s before the finals. I think he played in 2.
All right, so if you want to say
LeBron has played in 2 in an actual
at the top, Jordan's in the 90s. You're
at their best, you couldn't name
saying that was I saw the Knicks.
Really? Better
than the Toronto team that LeBron was playing.
I guess, but doesn't mean they don't suck.
Right. So here's my.
They just suck worse.
Let me let me go here. You're saying the LeBron's 13 down or 14 down was easy.
Yes.
Jordan's 90s was easy.
To 98 was easy.
But before that, if you want to compare the teams that they were playing, Jordan played harder teams.
I'm not arguing with you on that. That's
so
a great
his path
argument.
was.
But LeBron's finals competition, like, significantly.
We're gonna play Lance Stevenson, might lose.
John Starks was guarding Michael Jordan.
John Starks one-on-one. Lance Stevenson.
One-on-one. He was guarding him one-on-one.
Patrick Ewing is in the 75. You don't see Lance Stevenson in that 75 or Roy Hibbert.
Okay, but Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett are all in the top 70, and Ray Allen are all in the top 75.
But you don't want Ray Allen in the 75.
Wait, but
Paul Pierce in the 75?
He should be.
He should be. You're right. I actually like Paul Pierce.
Tim Duncan is in the top 75.
Tim Duncan, he's just.
Kawhi Leonard is in the top 75. Right?
You want me to start naming?
No. I'm just saying. It's like, well, I shouldn't even say Kawhi Leonard because they were in the West. But in the East, he's had a lot of top 75 guys there. And I just think about it like this, just to put it all in a nutshell. LeBron played more Hall of Famers in a final series, in one series, 2 times. Because I'm pretty sure Tim, Ginobili, Kawhi, and Tony Parker will all be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree I can agree with that.
They will all be.
I think that Tony Parker should be. I feel like it might take him a little while to get there.
But he'll get in there. And he should be in there.
Yeah, I think he definitely should be.
He should be in there.
It's so weird how good Tony Parker was.
Durant, Steph, Clay, and Draymond will all be in the Hall of Fame at some point, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He's played more Hall of Famers in 2 series than Jordan did in 6. In 6 finals. There was only 1 Hall of Famer on each.
How many did LeBron?
LeBron, I just said in those 2 series. In the Spurs series.
Durant, Clay, Dre, Steph.
4.
So 8.
8. And Michael Jordan in 6 finals played Magic. Worthy was hurt. That's why I didn't count where Kareem retired.
Kareem did retire.
Magic. Then Clyde Drexler was the only Hall of Famer on his team. Charles Barkley was the only Hall of Famer on his team. Gary Payton's the only Hall of Famer on his team. And then Stockton and Malone. So that's 6 to 8.
Okay, but if you want to, I could rebuttal again. LeBron played, like I've been saying, DeRozan, Lowry.
Who will be in the Hall of Fame at some point.
Who? Which one?
Lowry and DeRozan.
Not DeRozan.
Grant Hill made the Hall of Fame. DeRozan will be in there.
Can't put DeRozan in there yet.
He will be in there.
Lowry,
He's 100%
Lowry's
in
a
there.
maybe.
He will be in there.
He played Lance,
He's not.
George Hill,
He's not.
Roy Hibbert.
He's not.
Right. So if you want to do that, who else can you take? Bismack Biyombo.
That's Toronto.
Gave him fits.
Okay.
Gave him fits.
Not him. Kevin Love.
Gave him fits.
Kevin Love.
But if you want to do that, I mean, Jordan, the teams that Jordan played in the Eastern Conference.
You can make the argument. I'm not arguing that point.
They're that.
But it's not a. But
Hall of Fame level players. I mean, Isaiah Thomas.
I'm not arguing with you on that.
It's like that whole Dennis Rodman.
There's only Dennis Rodman, is a Hall of Famer. Nobody else is though. And Dennis Rodman's Hall of Fame 7 points in defense.
Bro,
when Jordan was still averaging 40.
Come on, Dennis Rodman is a Hall of Famer.
No, he is a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying that, but Dennis Rodman's Hall of Fame is kind of different because
that whole damn Celtics team.
Yeah.
Like the whole team.
Yeah. Bill Walton shouldn't be there, but okay.
But he's there.
He is.
Like that's already more than you're talking about LeBron.
Okay. Well, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and
you could also go by the levels of these players. Like we're talking about Isaiah Thomas.
Oh no, you can. Okay, so we
tier.
could go. Magic is probably the only player on that team is better than anybody LeBron's facing in the finals. Only Magic.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, because you have Steph.
Only Magic. And now people, I don't think it, but Steph is kind of like creeping up into a 1B now.
Yeah.
So think about it. Okay, I'll give you Magic, but everybody else is not better than LeBron's finals.
Like Larry Bird?
He didn't play Larry Bird in the finals.
Oh, you're talking about Jordan's finals?
Jordan's finals, yeah. No, but I'm not arguing with the fact that Jordan's Eastern Conference was probably
if you want, all right, so this is how I say. If you want to go off the finals,
all I'm saying is LeBron did not play in the weak East for his whole career. Because if you're that much dominant, you're probably going to win. But Michael Jordan, I mean, in the 90s, the Knicks really didn't have a chance. They didn't.
And Toronto shouldn't have had a chance either, but they fought like hell against them, not when they got swept, but
they got swept twice.
Toronto have they forced them to 7?
Their best was 6.
Or 6.
The other 2 years
LeBron
after that,
also got forced to 7 by that Pacers team, which had no business being there. Like,
yeah,
well, not being there, but
I mean, they deserved that.
They shouldn't have pushed that to 7 for shit.
Okay, but it did happen.
I don't know. Those teams,
but
teams compared to Jordan's Eastern Conference teams.
I mean, yeah, you can make the argument. But what I'm saying, when they were both at their best,
bad boy.
Whenever they started winning, the East got worse. When they started winning for both of them, when both of them started really winning for real, getting rings, the East got worse.
I wouldn't say Jordan's finals opponents are that underwhelming compared, because you're naming all these players, right? These Hall of Fame level players.
Yeah.
But that was also only one team, right? So they played the Spurs 3 times?
Yeah.
And they played the Warriors
4.
You can count it on your fucking fingers.
4
times. But other than that, like you could take, if you scratch those 2, they played the young OKC team, which
will have 3 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, but they weren't that.
So Durant averaging 30 that year, being the
Durant was the only one who was
Westbrook
really
averaged 24 and 7 that year.
Bro, Westbrook was nowhere near his peak. Harden was a 6.
Well, his peak's a triple double.
Harden was a 6-man, a 30 fucking point triple double.
He was a triple double. So that
and not even that, his impact on the game, Westbrook got so much better. So I'm talking about like at the time they played.
But at the time, you can't say they weren't great. Westbrook dropped 40 in the finals.
Because he had to, because that one game, KD was not shooting for.
But I'm saying somebody who averaged 30. Obviously, I know it's not their best version.
Like I could take Stockton and Malone on one team, who are.
I hate no. That team wasn't that great, man.
They have what's Malone on the scoring list? 2.
But I look at what he did in the finals.
Assists
what he did in the finals.
They had the 2nd greatest scorer of all time by numbers.
I look what he did in the finals. All that's great, but in the finals, he was average.
Well, if you want to go back in the finals, Steph is always like not as great as he is.
You know he averages 26 in the finals.
26 is Steph, but Steph,
and that's actually higher than his regular
there's a
season.
reason why Steph has never won a Finals MVP. There's also
He should have won it in 15, though. Come on. Iguodala held LeBron to a total of 40 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and scored 20 in 2 games. I don't want to hear that.
Harden in that final was against Miami was terrible.
He was bad, yeah.
Terrible. Which I'm not saying that was a problem. Well,
and then I can also throw in Chris Bosh was hurt too.
Against who?
OKC. He didn't average 10 points that series.
Yeah, but Bosh was going up against Ibaka at that time.
But he didn't have, so he was just as bad as his third player was just as bad as their third best player.
And then also, we had the only reason, I guess not the only reason, but that Miami. Oh wait, I'm gonna save that.
What?
I'm gonna save that. I almost just caught myself. I was gonna talk about Miami really quick. But before they played the Spurs and the third time when Kawhi really emerged, that first year they lost to, really, if you think, I'm not saying this like exactly, I'm kind of just blowing this out of proportion here, but Danny Green popped off crazy.
Yeah. And they lost.
To Danny Green, who was a meme.
No, that's not the year Danny Green popped off.
Or was that the year they lost?
That was the year they lost. That was the year Miami won when Danny Green popped off. The second year, the whole fucking team popped off.
Pretty much. Like, if we continue to talk about this, we could probably go for hours and nobody's going to win this argument. Because honestly, I mean, it's pretty much like, as you can tell from the argument, it's kind of neck and neck.
But I'm just saying, I mean, if you look at when they started winning championships, the East wasn't great.
Like, did LeBron really go through more than fucking Jordan did?
I mean, just if you look at, well, if you want to throw off the court issues into it, yes, he did.
What were the off the court issues?
Being famous at 15, being in the social media era, having debate shows.
Why? LeBron loves Twitter.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm just fucking around.
And then you have the debate shows era. There weren't debate shows back then. Everybody kind of has their opinion. It could get to you. It's hard. I mean, I would love, because Jordan, if you remember, like this is what he said out of The Last Dance. Well, this is what Magic Johnson said Michael Jordan told him in The Last Dance. Magic Johnson told reporters, you better stop teasing him because you're going to force him out the game. You could watch that. He said that himself.
I've seen it.
He said that himself. And next year, he ends up retiring. Obviously, his father's death had a lot to do with it, but that was a main
also
part.
With the off-the-court issues, we had his father's death, even though he won.
Yeah.
Apparently in The Last Dance, gambling was a big issue.
But, I mean, think about it. Even when his father died, it's not like he was in the NBA the next year. He retired. So you don't know how he deals with you know what he does on the court with pressure. But off the court with pressure, LeBron probably handles off the court issues better.
This is just a thought. This isn't even part of the argument anymore. He said that he thinks Jordan is number one all time. I do too.
I really do. Like, I know it don't sound like it, but I really think Jordan.
I do too. We obviously think LeBron is too. But like, if you think about it, Jordan retiring and then coming back should kind of have maybe LeBron should get the step ahead there, because LeBron never fucking was like, fuck it, I'm gonna retire real quick and then come back.
LeBron played in 10 straight finals. 10 straight finals.
And the shitty ass these.
Jordan
would have too.
10 straight
if we're being
finals.
real, Jordan probably would have won 10 straight finals.
But see, I don't think
not 10 straight. He probably would have won 10 finals.
No, I don't think anybody in a modern era would reel off 10 championships. I don't think you'll ever see that.
We would have seen it if KD didn't want to leave. We would have. They weren't going to lose. Who could they possibly lose to now?
I mean, that's an if. Like I said,
let's start with the ifs. I'm getting too excited for the next segment.
We'll never see it happen because it's an if. Could it? I don't know. Because by that case, people would just throw in the towel and you'd see LeBron with James Harden and Russell Westbrook and
at the time,
bitch. Westbrook's bum ass. But that's beside the case.
I'm gonna say it
somebody would have teamed
We're
up.
gonna record this. Let's make a T-shirt. I keep saying that because I'm a huge TNT fan, but whatever. We're gonna make a T-shirt. We should make a bet right now on this show.
On what?
I bet you that Westbrook is clearly no, because I can't do that because AD's hurt.
Yes.
I bet you Westbrook's averaging 20 points plus for the remaining of the year.
Well, he averaged 19 already, so it's not so far off the possibility.
20 points plus on 48 or higher.
Oh, bet, yes.
How
much money do you want to fucking bet?
He's about to turn up.
How much money do you want to fucking bet?
No, we can't do money on this show.
48%.
47 or higher.
I will bet my life.
All right, so what should we do?
47.
I'll have to wear a T-shirt. Of
47 like percent
or higher. Because he's gonna turn up, and you're gonna eat your damn words.
You realize his turnup's 44%.
Do you want to be in the fucking playoffs or not?
We are.
That's the only case. That's the only possibility y'all have.
With AD being hurt, he got to play the fourth quarter. I'll take the bet.
You gotta put him on the damn floor in the fourth quarter.
If you don't play like he doesn't play.
All right, we'll figure out the bet, but everyone
we can figure it out.
I'm pretty excited.
The 20 points, yes, but he will not.
I'll say it now. Westbrook is gonna go ape shit for the Lakers, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, Westbrook's back. Westbrook this, just like last year."
I guarantee.
Do you remember last year on the Wizards what he did before the playoffs started?
And he shot 44 for the year.
But he wasn't playing with LeBron James.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Listen, I'm telling you right now.
It's gonna happen.
I'm telling guys, listen to me. This is what's gonna happen. Westbrook's gonna have a 3-game stretch where he goes insane. I'll give it a week. He'll have a week stretch at some point during the second half where he'll go insane. That's what he just does. He does that every year. He'll have a little month or 2-week stretch where he averages a good percentage, and then it'll be back to normal.
Because if you remember, on the Wizards before they ended up making the playoffs last year. His last 3 months were 2016 again.
In 2016, and he shot 42% that year.
Okay, let's move on. We have one more thing to talk about here. So we're pretty much done with all the present day talk. As you can see, we were just talking about Jordan, LeBron. So we wanted to do something fun again to finish the show here. We're going to call it Myths of the NBA. I kind of said that weird. Myth.
Spit it out, goddammit.
Pause. But yeah, so we both chose one, it's like a what if. No, it's not even really a what if.
It's like a myth.
It's like we both chose one myth. That's how you say it. That we feel strongly about and have a strong opinion on. So I'll let you start.
Low key, your key. What you're about to say right now, kind of make LeBron's path kind of harder, don't you think? He played the Spurs twice. But that's another thing for another.
Before I start,
that's another thing for another time.
Before I start, Jordan's team when he first started.
We're not talking about Jordan. We're talking about what you had.
Way worse than this.
We're talking about what you had.
No, yeah, it's way worse than this. This team.
How? He never lost
when he first got in the league. Fuck it. Anyway, let's stop.
Okay. All right. I'll let you go first.
We can have, bro. I could argue that too, but so the thing I wanted to talk about was from the 13 to, or was it 12?
When they got together?
Yeah.
10.
Well,
10, 11.
Was it that long ago?
10, 11, yeah. Fourth grade.
All right, from 2010 to 2011 season, all the way through the 14. They had 4 years together?
Yeah, 14, yeah.
The super team was created, even though I thought it was created with probably the Celtics, but the narrative anyway, of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh all joining the Miami Heat. And they had this stretch where they won 2 finals, 2 NBA championships in 4 years, which is actually pretty good.
Great.
If you really think about it.
50%.
But it didn't last as long as everyone would think. I know everyone remembers LeBron. Not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8. Kept going and going and going.
Stop the cap.
Yeah, for real. So I'm here to say that Miami Heat team wasn't as good as advertised or remembered. as everyone remembers it. Oh, Miami Heat, that they were the best team. Let's think about it for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Take a second. Ding. You know what I'm talking about.
All right.
But here we go. So the first year, I could say, I'll give them their props. The first year a team comes together, it normally never works the first year. They never win that championship. They got to it, but they lost to Dirk and Jason Kidd when they were.
Another thing about your metric that puts it harder for LeBron. First year team.
Can I just do my?
Okay, go ahead.
Can I just do my little thing here?
Yeah, talk your shit.
Well, I mean, Jordan also had his first year thing with Pippen and Robin, whatever.
But it was the same core.
Same core. It was the same. Anyway, I gotta go here.
Okay, go ahead.
That team lost to the Dallas Mavericks, who no one thought was gonna win, right?
Nobody.
Then that team goes on to beat the OKC Thunder when they were about 5 years old apiece. When I say the OKC Thunder, I mean Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. They were about 5-6 years old, still eating Gerber and shit, you know?
Okay.
Then that team loses to a San Antonio Spurs team with no Kawhi yet. Well, they had Kawhi, right? But Kawhi was not Kawhi Leonard for shit yet.
But he still had the system.
Then they beat the Spurs. Then they lose to the Spurs again. Mm-hmm. Quick, done, Miami Heat over.
Yep.
Why is it that we remember that team to be one of the greatest of all time when all they did was beat a team that was not even close to their primes yet? And then LeBron beats Thiago Splitter. No, I'm just joking. But they beat the Spurs that one year, and then it was over. Why do we remember them to be so great?
Because LeBron James was on it. Dwayne Wade was on it. And they played 4 years together and they had 2 rings. I think that's a pretty damn good ratio or percentage of wins.
I guess I said before the 2 rings were, 2 out of 4 is great.
And I think,
but
I get what you mean by it. Could you say they should have won every single year they were together? Yes.
For sure. Just like,
or at least 3 out of 4.
Just like how Durant did with the Warriors until they all got hurt. They were winning.
But see, that was just a whole different level of like a team. That was like a whole nother level. It was really a whole nother level. Like that Golden State team significantly going to beat that Miami team.
Oh, for sure.
Badly.
I don't know why.
Because it's like you have.
Looking back on it, I actually think we were probably caught up in the moment too. We were probably scared shitless when we saw our favorite team go play Miami. But looking back at it, I think that might be one of the most overhyped teams ever.
You can't say a back-to-back champion's overhyped, because then I could definitely make the case for the Pistons that they were overhyped in 2002. Not in 2002, in 89 and 90.
I thought, I was going to say the 2002 team probably wasn't very overhyped.
You could say that too, technically. You could say that the over 4
I'm just saying, this was the first time you saw 3 superstars come in and they had a party almost.
Now also,
they had I can't get the right word to my mind here.
They thought they were gonna do more than what they did.
They literally had.
They had a celebration for championships they never won.
Facts.
Okay. So if I'm
ask, you've never seen that before. You've never seen that before. So when KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce and Rondo, whatever, not even really Rondo at the time, but then he came in and was like, oh shit. They didn't throw no party.
I get it.
They weren't dancing on stage like we go into the chip. We gonna win 8 rings. No.
Yeah. I get it. But if we're gonna talk about overhyped teams, can you throw the Celtics in the 80s in there? You got to remember, they had the same team for 10 years and won 3.
Oh, I'm not really arguing that right now. You still keep trying to bring it back to this day.
No, but I swear to God, it's not about Jordan no more. I'm actually asking you a serious question.
I'm sure you
could
probably
say
can
those
if you
teams
dove
were
into it a little
overhyped?
bit.
Because I mean, they went to the three championships Larry Bird won. They played Houston twice. So can you say that was an overrated team?
I'm sure. I mean, if I really looked at it, you might be able to. But I'm talking about Miami right now.
Okay, no, but I'm just
and also
I'm
like
just kind of
you saw
comparing
like
teams.
in their playoff runs, they got the scare from the Pacers we already talked about.
Yeah.
It should like that team. The expectation was the sweep.
Yeah, but
and
then
seeing them get pushed to the limit by the Indiana Pacers was like, this team maybe isn't as good as we think they are. You know what I'm saying? And then D-Wade got injured.
That was a huge deal.
But then that was like towards the end of like D-Wade being like that good.
He got hurt in like 13.
I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm correct here, but just looking at it,
but I
don't think Miami was as good as advertised.
I definitely agree with that. But
because like in everyone's head, that team was like dominance, and maybe they weren't.
I agree with that. I agree that they should have done more, but it's hard to say you should have done more when you won 2 rings out of 4 tries.
Also, that the year that D Rose won MVP, they were the 1 seed in the East, the Bulls.
Yeah.
And I know that Miami beat the Bulls, but everyone kind of expected that.
Yeah.
But like for Miami, I guess, because this is really before like load management and all that bullshit, rest and everything, and they weren't even the 1 seed that year. And I feel like they're.
But like you said, first time teams have to figure it out. But Chicago, that team was there for 3 years, and Derrick Rose gets to it.
Oh, I'm saying for the first, like when you put everyone together, they almost never win the championship, except the Warriors.
Yeah. No, but if you put all first-time teams together, there's a point where they do struggle. I think they started off 9-8, and I think they ended 55-24. So basically, they went on a 44-14.
I think the problem with that year is when they started to struggle in the finals because they didn't know who
should take over, team. And they didn't know how to play a zone. To be honest, all Dallas did was play zone.
It was so bad.
And I mean, that's all they did. But then I can't say they're overhyped too, because even in the regular after that year.
Oh, actually, I'm thinking back to this finals, and LeBron played like shit in that finals.
He did. That was all time bad. That was an all time bad finals. Yes, it was all time bad. It was tragic.
It makes me sound like a LeBron hater, but I'm really not.
No, it was tragic the way he played. But I was about to say, but some of the things they did were insane. Like you remember,
how many wins they had in a row?
The 27 game winning streak in 13. That's
So impressive. When I think about this, like I'm not saying I'm LeBron right here. I'm just like making the idea.
Yeah, and LeBron won 2 MVPs during that stretch.
He did. That shit pissed me off too. Because at the time, I did not like LeBron when he joined Miami. I learned just like a lot of other people.
I wasn't bothered by it. I guess I just.
I'm just making the idea and thinking about it. It's tough to wrap your mind around a team that like even like just like remembering, you're like they were so damn good.
They were damn good. They won 2 rings.
I don't know. 2 out of 4, great. The way they won against OKC, I mean, that's not their fault for beating a team that was less than them.
I mean, but you can make that case for any like championship team. Because if you look at the Lakers and
I'm thinking about it. Sorry to cut you off. Maybe I'm thinking about it this way because, like, you know, they had the 27 wins or whatever in a row. This shit was expected. So maybe, like, the hype that they brought into that is making them, in my eyes, look worse. You know what I'm saying?
No, it looks bad.
It was expected for them to beat Dallas.
Yeah, they lost. But if you look, they weren't favored.
If you think about it, OKC was actually favored over Miami.
Yeah, because people were on LeBron's head saying he can't win in the finals.
But everyone knew that Miami would beat OKC that year.
Everybody who didn't live in Las Vegas knew that.
Well, I guess it's true though. I mean, you knew that Miami was going to beat OKC. I knew it, and I didn't want to accept it, but I don't know. That's me. I'd like to hear everyone else's opinions on that. I'm not saying that they were a bad team. I would like to say they weren't as good as advertised.
Were Kobe and Shaq's teams good as advertised?
Yes.
Were they? They played New Jersey Nets in the finals.
Yeah, but they
with
won.
Jason Kidd.
But they
Only.
won 3 in a row.
They won 2 in a row.
3 in a row.
They won 2, but Dwayne Wade gets hurt.
Oh, you're talking about
Kobe and Shaq Lakers.
Yeah, you're talking about Miami. I was like, they won 3 in a row, and you said 2 in a row, and I was like, what?
Oh, no. Miami won 2 in a row. The Lakers won 3 in a row, right? And Allen Iverson they constantly say that was.
How many years did Kobe and Shaq play together?
8. They won 3.
Shit. But the years before Kobe wasn't as
okay,
good
from
yet.
2000 to 2004, Kobe was it. They win 3 in a row. They lose in 03 and 04. So in 4 years, they won 3 rings, and LeBron wins 2 and 4.
It's interesting. Not LeBron, though. You said Kobe and Shaq was
Yeah,
LeBron.
were they overhyped? Because if you look at their finals opponents,
LeBron, Wade, and Bosh.
You look at their finals opponents, I think they only lost 2 games in their finals history.
Oh, what? Sorry. I was thinking about a time.
No, I think the Lakers, during that stretch, they only lost 3 games in the finals.
The Lakers with Shaq and Kobe?
Yeah, they were basically 12-3 in finals before they played Detroit.
All right, so maybe that's the difference maker then.
What?
Until they played Detroit, they only lost 3 games in the finals. I mean, the years back to back. I mean, they only lost 1 against OKC Miami, and then how many did they lost? They won.
They
6.
went to 7.
Oh, they won in 7. I thought they.
No, the first because if
they did go to. They did go to 7.
They went to 7 with the Spurs.
So they lost 4 in 2 series. I don't know.
In 2 series, yeah.
It's just an idea. I'll let you go now.
All right. So my biggest thing is the NBA, like how all these older players say that the NBA players now can't play in their eras. I heard Rasheed Wallace say LeBron can't play in his era.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Rasheed Wallace to say that LeBron couldn't play in his era?
But Rasheed Wallace came in 4 years before LeBron did. He was your era.
They found out Rasheed Wallace was playing in the 10s, in the 2010s.
LeBron played against your 17.
He was on the Celtics team. I know he was a little older.
No, but he played against your Detroit team in 07 and had 30 points in a row. So technically he can play in your era. But that's neither here nor there. When they always want to talk about what they would do and not what these players now would do.
Mm-hmm.
Because Reggie Miller had a lot of success in the 90s, you can say. Steph scores damn near the same way. But Steph could dribble better and shoot better. And finish better.
And pass better.
But I'm just saying, like, scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Even a guy like LeBron. They say LeBron wouldn't be great in the 90s because of the physicality. I say, hold on. What if LeBron was allowed to lower his chest into your body?
Very true. Very true.
Think about it. What if LeBron could do that?
Let's say Miami Heat LeBron, too, where he was up to 280.
What if LeBron could drive? Think about it. He's 6'9", 280 at his highest and runs a 4 flat.
Fastest player in the league.
And runs a 4 flat. And he's coming at you. And Dennis Rodman's back there when there was no charge circle. And there was no such. I would put my chances on LeBron in an open court in any era.
Yeah.
Because people want to talk about what they would do to him, but not talk about what he would do to them.
Right. And especially if LeBron got pissed and was on defense. He'll fucking.
And do people get LeBron was a 6-time all defensive team guy. And he should have won Defensive Player of the Year that 1 year. He should have won Defensive Player of the Year. Marc Gasol ends up getting it, and he didn't even make the All-Defensive First Team,
right.
And he won Defensive Player of the Year. But a Klay Thompson would have great success. Reggie Miller
had success.
Reggie Miller had success. Why can't
Klay Thompson is a defensive god at the time?
Exactly. And KD, something we've never seen before, ever. So who would you would just put guys that'll foul him? Okay, he shoots 90% from the free throw line.
Yeah, he's gonna score.
I think people think, well, he wouldn't have been good because you were allowed to hit people. So you're gonna foul him when he shoots 90% from the free throw line, so he can go 20 for 21.
And they're not guarding up in that area
Because
either.
I
He's
think
gonna hit a lot of
people
threes,
haven't
too.
misconstrued that it was just all like people like you weren't even allowed to shoot a layup. That's not true. Because Jordan wasn't a great 3-point shooter. Jordan was a great mid-range shooter and finisher. If he scored 30 points per game, I'd kind of put my money that 15 were in the paint.
Or a free throw line.
Or free throw line. Or 15 points. So
yeah.
15 points
Yeah.
came from driving to the basket. LeBron is probably a better drive, like getting to where he has to go better than Jordan in terms of just because he's bigger. It's not from skill anything or nothing like that, but he could get to where he has to go easier than a Jordan could, no matter who you put on him, just because he's 280. And Steph Curry, we would have hand checked him to death. The hand check, you weren't allowed to go nowhere. It's easy to hand check somebody when they're not looking to score. Think about the point guards used to dribble with their back to the basket like this, trying to set up an offense. He is the offense. You couldn't hand check Allen Iverson.
Before Iverson, they'd never seen handles like that.
Exactly. You can't hand check somebody who's facing you up, dribbling down the court, and not going like this and just dribbling with his back to the basket.
Also, how do you finna guard him when he's pulling from half court in front of your face?
Yeah. Oh, well, if he would have hit 3 in a row, I would have just knocked him on his ass. Okay. The greatest free throw shooter of all time. Do it. I want you to. Well, you think he's going to stop?
I think what they're saying is like they wouldn't survive in that era.
I think they would be. I think
stuff.
they would be better.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Because Steph never had injuries to where it was like he got hit and just got hurt.
Right, he just rolled his ankle a bunch of times.
He rolled his ankle a bunch of times. LeBron, that's LeBron. Kevin Durant is never.
LeBron might have been more unleashed because back then he wouldn't be faking injuries.
No, because it's the rules too. The rules changed. So if you're telling me you can't put your foot underneath my foot when I'm shooting, and you don't call it, you look soft. But where's my foul? Where is it? Because you told me if you put your foot under mine and I jump and I land on your foot, it's a foul, and you don't call it. You can't get in my shooting space. I would complain too. I think people just think these players are complaining because they're bored. Or like,
I think Andrew just hit his bet. That's crazy.
Like, I think that just because they want every foul call, but it's like, if you're telling me that if I back up that if I back up into you and you don't call it, it's a foul. I want my foul. So, and then they're also knocking players' ability to adjust. So if they're playing in that era, they're probably not looking for fouls because they know that's not a foul. So now what do they have to do? Get around the foul. So that's when Steph Curry pulls it from half court.
Also, I mean, you're bringing a lot of present day players back to the.
Oh, and then it works both ways.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off, it works both ways.
I wanted you to say
it does work both ways. It does work both ways because Michael Jordan play in any era and be successful. Magic Johnson can play in any era, be successful. Larry Bird, successful.
That's my biggest thing.
It's a two-way street. It's not like a one-way road.
I don't know why, like, because you don't see like the argument that Jordan wouldn't be dominant or Magic would.
Because it's only the older guys that are throwing shots.
But
you don't ever see a younger guy saying, "Well, no, he can't play."
You could see the only time you see that I feel like is with Larry Bird. I feel like I've seen that way too often. There's so many Larry
people who don't know
Birds.
basketball. Yes, people who don't know basketball. All you got to do is just look at what Luka Doncic is doing right now.
Yep.
It's what? Of course, Larry. Now, do I think he'd be able to? Do I think he could play a point guard like Luka and how he brought the ball up? Probably not.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be.
But I think
It wouldn't necessarily be the same position. But
it
he's
wouldn't
still
be the
doing-
same position. He'd still be just as great. I think his numbers probably stay the same, if not better, because he'll probably get 5 more free throws.
Yeah, there's more offense now.
And so, I mean, that's a two-way street. If you're really great, then you could play in any era, no matter who you are, what era you were in. And that's all I have to say. But it's always the older guys that throw shots at the younger guys for no reason. They're not even thinking about you. They're not thinking about you. You go out your way to say LeBron James, who's 280, can't play in your era. Okay.
Rodman said it again just a few days ago.
I know he said it, but Rodman, he's a great defender, yeah. But he's never guarded nobody like LeBron.
Right.
He said LeBron has no moves. What moves does he possibly need to just go into your chest?
In that era.
Because people always want to talk about what they would do, and it's just like, okay, if LeBron could just put his head down.
And it goes both ways, like you said, right? So even if, say, Rodman came up to this era,
I don't think he'd be great.
he'd foul too much.
I don't think he'd be great.
Foul way too much.
Yeah, I don't think he would be great.
And I feel like technicals are also given out way too easy nowadays.
The only players that only non-superstar players that could survive in this era, I'm talking about the non-superstars, were the people who could pick and pop mid-range.
Yeah.
Were the people who could pick and pop mid-range. I'm not talking about the great players, because every great player will be able to play in any era. Dennis Rodman is a great player, but he's like an exception to the rule because he's just a defensive guy and rebounder. He can't do the shit he was doing back then now.
I'm willing to say that, like, the comparison to Draymond and Dennis, I feel like Draymond would be much better in this era.
It's not a compare. You think Draymond would?
He'd be much better now if Dennis played now.
If Dennis played now, he'd be better?
Draymond would be better.
How?
Now.
Yeah, Draymond's better now. Will be better now because he's in it now.
Yeah. But, like, if Dennis Rodman's...
Oh, if they were comparing each other.
Right.
He would be better.
Right.
Yeah, because he could pass, rebound.
Shoot a little better.
Defend, and shoot a little better.
Draymond actually dropped 30 in a finals game.
I don't know what happened to his shot. Like, he actually
dropped 30 in Game 7 in the finals, right?
32, 15, and 9 in the finals. I mean, but he probably would have won Finals MVP while we bullshitting.
All right, we're done here?
I think so.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all watching, tuning in.
If there's really one thing you should take away from this, Bill Walton doesn't need to be on any NBA list.
So that does it for episode 2. We'll be back with episode 3 tomorrow. I know we're a little behind, so I'm saying tomorrow, and we're going to be out here. Peace. Yep.